it is Women's Month, and it was on the 8th of March, International Women's Day. And guess what? Women play different roles in different spheres. But today we are talking about women that make energy happen. They've got energetic souls, and I'm not going to be the one not respecting the fact that they must introduce themselves as to how they are and who they are. So we'll start off with my biggest supporter in life.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Helen Zulu. I am based in Zambia. I am the Managing Director of Ignite Energy Access and also the Regional Director of the Southern Region. So we are into off-grid electrification. So basically our focus is on driving two technologies. We've got mini grids that we construct and electrify communities, but we've also got your distributed renewable energy solutions, which are the standalone solar solutions. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. That means that the next person that we've got is Natasha.
Hi, everyone. I'm Natasha Kamanga. I'm the Corporate Affairs Manager at the Northwestern Energy Corporation. NWEC is the first private electricity distribution company. We supply electricity to the mining townships in the northwestern region of Zambia. So that's a little bit about us and myself. Thank you.
Okay. Now we come to South Africa.
Yeah. Okay, hello to everyone. My name is Vukona Ligege, and I am a civil engineer by profession within the renewable energy sector. Specializing in project execution. And just recently got off or completed a 240 megawatts from Mooiplaats. It's a solar farm in Mooiplaats, South Africa, in Northern Cape. Soon to be injected within our national grid.
Wow. Enterprise.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say, you know what? Energy Indaba is a very crucial part of what we do in terms of South Africa, but also in terms of Africa in general. So this is one of the most important part, is that women play so much big roles in these places. So for now, what I'm hearing is there is a grid. We've got a person who has been around the politics and everything that's got to do with that. And then we've got a solar grid and what it is that means for South Africa. So we've got Zambia, South Africa in this place. So what do we do now? Ladies, why the Energy Indaba? Why and how did you get into your spaces? I mean, really, I'm looking at a civil engineer over here, I'm looking at a brand manager over here, and I'm looking at somebody who really regulates and does their own thing, already supplying so much energy into any grid that is in Zambia. So why Energy Indaba though?
Okay, so for me and what I represent, the Energy Indaba is a place where you come to meet like minds.
Right.
One of the things that's very unique about this particular Indaba is that it's not looking at only the big boys in the energy sector. It's looking at everybody that's contributing to the energy landscape of Africa. And it's not focusing on one section of the continent. It's looking at everyone. And if you look at the participants, they're very diverse. You have your investors, you have your players, you have your regulators, you have the politicians. So it's an opportunity for us to come and share ideas, but also listen to the progress. One of the key conversations is definitely the M300.
Yes.
And it's an opportunity to hear the different compacts in the different countries, what they've done, what they're struggling with, what they're trying to improve. And we can also share experiences as well. So that's why the Energy Endowed.
And I'm so grateful you mentioned the M300 project, because the M300 project was something that was mentioned also by the president in his speech yesterday, and also the platform where the M300 CEO was able to explain to us why and when it started. And the question now for me is, how are you taking that? And this is a follow-up question. So how are you taking that? And just realistically, how is it implemented?
Okay, so I'll speak about my sector particularly. So there are several pillars
Yeah.
in the M300 compact, and for me particularly, it's off-grid electrification.
Yes.
So it's identifying that a country, and I'll give an example of Zambia because that's where I'm coming from.
Exactly.
So you
Hello,
will
Zambia.
not manage to electrify the whole country with the grid.
Yes.
Zambia is over 750,000 square kilometers.
Right.
How is it that we're going to pull all the lines around the country? And that's not possible. But we don't want to leave anyone behind. We want everybody to be electrified.
Exactly.
So in doing that, we create a multi-technology solution. So you have the mini grids that will look at clustered communities. So there are some provinces where they live in clusters. So it's so much easier to run distribution lines. But there are some villages where I want to live on a farm on my own, and my neighbor is like and several hectares away from me. What am I going to do for those? We can do rooftop solar solutions.
Right.
And we also have villages that are very sparsely spread. You can give them solar home systems, which come in different tiers. So you have the tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. Tier 1 is basically your 2 lights or 3 lights and the charging system, because we know that everybody has a phone these days, irrespective of what type. And so if you go into tier 2, you also have people that will have solar television.
Yes.
Now you have DSTV in the village somewhere.
Thank you.
By the headman. Then you have third ones. So the third ones are also the larger tier. You have refrigeration. And when you look at the different technologies that we have, they're able to solve the electrification gap, but in a different way.
Okay.
And so for me, that is a very important pillar that I focus on. Yeah.
Thank you, my sister. Thank you so much. That is so amazing. Now, let's talk. And I want you now to tell us why. I mean, you were at Mining Indaba, right? So your company does a lot of things and they delve into a lot of things. And it looks like it's all coming together, whether it's the Mining Indaba, whether it's the Energy Africa. Tell us why it is so good for you to invest in a place like this and why you are so interested in it.
I think coming from the background in the private sector for NWEC, such conversations and such platforms like the Africa Energy Indaba, the Mining Indaba, the core of what we do.
Yeah.
We distribute electricity to the mining townships in the Northwestern region. So we work with the miners, we work with the people that support the mines. We have the residentials, the commercials and the industrial. So we work hand in hand with both the mining and the electricity side. So it's very important to us to foster conversations surrounding investing in grid infrastructure and expanding electricity access and ensuring that everyone has sustainable and reliable power solutions as well. And sort of similar to Helen, we also work with expanding the grid in remote areas. So currently, right now, our fastest growing site is in Kalivila, and as the township continues to develop and more houses are being built and have more commercial clients coming in, it's important that each of those customers have access to the grid. Currently, we actually recently commissioned a new industrial line. So we've got an industrial line going straight from our substation dedicated to the industry. So even as the town expands and even as more manufacturers come in, they have a dedicated line that's separated away from the residential customers. So they have reliable power going straight to them. And I think for us, it's just important to continue to expand electricity access, continue developing the grid, continuing to foster solutions that helps the community on both sides, the private sector and even working with the public sector as well.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. That is amazing. Now, why I'm going to ask you, sis, is because, number one, Helen mentioned something about the solar grid. I mean, what she's doing in Zambia is so great. And it talks to also the solar community and where you are in terms of it. So I know you are very big in that. So why are you here? And why this particular conference in terms of meeting?
Okay. So initially, the thought of actually coming here was mainly for connections, actually, visibility as well, but also the flow of energy. ideas are always moving.
Yeah.
And you being stationed in one place actually does not mean you get everything. It is good to be out there. As energy is flowing, tap in and flow with the energy as well.
Right.
So you get to hear of ideas of what others are doing. I mean, it's the entire continent.
Yes.
So you get to hear about what our neighboring countries or even further,
Yes.
what are they doing, what are they up to, how are they solving the problems, and how we can work together as well. So that was the initial plan of actually coming to the Indaba. And yeah, but since being here, the mind has been more open now. And I've been in conversations with developers, I've been in conversations with
Yeah.
the IPPs
Yes.
who are actually executing the works on ground
Yeah.
and with these big projects that are happening. So that was the whole plan of the Indaba. And I must say that it's been a lovely time at the Indaba. Yeah.
Yo, ladies, I am so grateful. And I'm, honestly speaking, I'm looking at the kind of level of conversation that you guys are having right now, and I'm saying the opportunity as women to connect and to talk in our spaces is so incredible. So what would be your takeaways? Not just about energy Indaba, but also as women who are in the spaces that you're at and how to collaborate. That would be a very different question to what I was going to ask at the end. But let's ask, what will be your takeaways based on this discussion as to how you would want to look at life differently as a woman and how you collaborate with different groups in different countries?
Okay, so for me, I'll start first of all by talking about yesterday's Women in
Yes,
Energy breakfast.
yes.
One of my many key takeaways
Good.
were that you always have to lift the next person up.
Aha.
So as women in energy, we're always saying we're marginalized, we're not given the platform.
Yes.
But the conversations yesterday pivoted to power has been given, take it.
Yes.
And so in this sector,
True.
we're not going to sit back and wait for someone to say, oh, Helen, it's not time for you to
Right.
do this. It's an opportunity for us to speak up,
Yep.
to offer ourselves
Yes.
availability, but also to always interact and have conversations. So earlier we were saying that there's a lot of similarity across Africa. So the challenges we're facing in Zambia, somebody else is facing it, and say
Yep.
someone is facing it in Namibia. We can only know that there is that similarity if we have conversations.
Yes.
So when we come to platforms like this, it's not for me to walk from my hotel room
Eh.
to the conference seat, listen, take notes, and then go and share at home.
Yes.
But it's for me to speak to the next woman.
True, true.
And understand where you're from, what do you do?
True.
In that way, that kind of interaction, we're able to learn. So far, I have met so many ladies
Yes.
that I'm looking forward to interacting with.
Yeah.
So that is, for me, my key takeaway, networking for purpose.
I love that.
Yeah.
Networking for purpose.
Exactly.
Now, networking for purpose. Let's take that home. Right.
I think for me, attending a lot of these conferences has been a way for me to engage with different women that I probably wouldn't have had the opportunity if I wasn't there. I think a lot of the women that have helped me in my careers through meeting them at events like this, and where you don't expect to meet somebody in your field from a different country or in a slightly different sector, or maybe they're working in an NGO, or maybe they're working on the engineering side, but being able to have conversations and being able to sit down with the lady next to you and sort of hear her perspective, because I'm still growing in the field, I'm still learning every single time, and every time I meet somebody new, I get to learn something that I didn't have before. So I think there's a lot of knowledge sharing that's needed between women, and even as you said, like making sure that we take up space, we take ownership, we don't wait for somebody to tell us you can come in, but ensuring that if there's a little bit of a door open, that we swing it wide open and we go right into it. So I think that's why I love conferences, and I love when there's opportunities for women just to even speak to one another, because sometimes you're a little bit afraid. You're like, oh, this person has such a big CV. How can I go straight up to her and just have a conversation? But sometimes you don't know that the person that has gone ahead of you has so much knowledge that they can give you that you may not even realize that you needed. So I think it's just important that we create opportunities just to network, spend time together, share ideas, and learn from one another.
And be open to it. So, one thing I'm taking from it, listen, we are always afraid. I would not have spoken to Helen if it wasn't for the platform. I don't know whether it was possible because she's a speaker, she's a huge deal in a conference like this. And sometimes, woman, you don't even know who and what you can do. So I'm loving the fact that you're saying just sharing knowledge and just being in the space allows us to be able to be open enough and vulnerable enough to know what you know and what you don't know, right? And thank you for that, because listen, it is still my view as well. So as much as I look confident, but I am not that confident. But so you are here from a South African view. You've seen what has happened. It is in your country, by the way. Everybody, Helen and Natasha are coming. You are. Would you talk about where you are now? What is your takeaway based on all of this and also anything else that you've looked at in terms of this?
From my perspective, I'd say my biggest takeaway is just being enabled.
Yeah.
And I say enabled because I have met women within the South African space that I've always looked up to. So whenever they are far from you, it feels far-fetched. Now meeting them in these spaces and being with them in this space has actually enabled me. It feels like I can do it.
Yes.
So representation for me has been great. I met the likes of Lebu,
Yes.
the CEO of IX Engineers.
All right.
I've met Nelly from Soledi.
Right.
And these are women that you always see in the social media. And you look up to them. So seeing them physically, having this chat with them, having conversations with them, meaningful conversations, it makes one realize that this is possible.
Yeah.
I too. So as she has mentioned, famous words of our Miss Universe, take up
The space.
you know, the
Take up
spaces
space.
are there, they are created, but whenever we meet and we have this meaningful conversations like this, I mean, just by talking to Natasha, talking to her, like I've learned already. So just being in those spaces, people represent yourself, come through and have this conversation. I feel like it does a lot.
It does.
Yeah, it does, definitely. That also would be my take out from this, that, just be present. Presence. It
matters.
Yes.
Matters.
Yeah.
It matters.
It does birth other things.
That's true.
I didn't come for this interview. I didn't even know about this.
Tell them how we met.
But being present has actually brought other things. So, honestly, take up space and be present.
And thank you so much for that. Now, ladies, thank you so much for being here, just representing yourselves. But I'm also going to say one thing. So I want to tell my story in terms of how I met Financial Insight. They are from Zambia. All of you know them from Zambia. She's the only one that is South African right now on the panel. But I am representing South Africa Financial Insight Africa. And guess what? It is a space that I did not think I wanted to be part of. But for one reason, it called to me, because there was voices in South Africa where Financial Insight has already got the being, it's got the DNA, it's got the media machine that I was subscribed to. This is us as Financial Insight Africa, and I am Mvinjelwa, and I am the only person that can represent myself.